My sense of it is that lots of us, pretty much all of us, would like to see change, but we don't much want to be the ones to change. That is, we all would like the world to change in the service of our goals, our moral standards, or whatever. But it's work to change ourselves, and it's iffy work. That is, we're not sure we can. So we'd want change, but we would want to have to be the ones to do it. We might say that we want to change, that we are growing, learning, open, always that. But actually, it's a lot of work to change, and it's iffy work at that. So I want to pose a question to those of us who would like to see change and don't like the change that's coming from the Trumpists. What could we change? What should we change so that we could bring about a better world or more of what we want in this world? I read a lot from us anti-Trumpists of what we want to do now, what we think we should do. And I mostly hear people wanting to double down on messages that we have been conveying for decades now about love and hope and kindness and all of that sort of stuff. I don't think those messages are getting through. I think that Trump has beat us at them. He claims to represent every virtue to the utmost. He claims an objective authority over the world, a fake objective authority over the world, because he has all of the virtues to the max. He doesn't have to act on them. He doesn't have to walk his talk, and he never does. To give you an example of it, hypocrisy sounds bad, integrity sounds good. I'm sure if an interviewer asked Trump if he has integrity, he would say he's got the most integrity. He's got it in spades. He obviously doesn't. Obvious to me, not obvious to those people who support him enthusiastically. But he does get to claim that. He pulls rank. He gets on his high horse and talks to the American people as though if it's good, he's got it to infinity. If it's bad, we've got it to infinity. I think of it very much in Pee Wee Herman terms. Do you remember that childish thing where someone accuses him of something and says, I know you are, but what am I times infinity? That's what Trump does, but he also does the opposite. If it sounds good, he basically says, I know I am, but what are you? If we claim any virtue, he will say, I know I am, but what are you times infinity. I think that's really all he's got going. And I'm afraid that's a lot of what we have going. And we can't beat him at that game. That is, if we're going to pretend we are the authorities, the objective authorities on what's moral, what's right, what's righteous, we're not going to beat him at that game. All he does is that. And we don't walk our talk either. That is, we may say that we're all for love or kindness, but we tend to use that as a way to grandstand and moralize and pretend that we are the authorities on such things. For example, just take that the common nonsense about don't be judgmental, which is itself judgmental. So there's a way that I hear among my people, his people, all people, this argument, don't be judgmental, and you don't get to decide who's judgmental. I'll be the judge of who's judgmental. That would just be standard human moralizing bullshit. And I don't think we can beat Trump at that game, and I think it will take a change of heart for us, a change of heart and mind, a tolerance for difficult decisions, for us to get beyond that kind of grandstanding. Kamala Harris did pour $1 billion into beating Trump at that game. We are the tolerant one. We are the righteous ones. And he just flipped it all off and said, no, I am. I'm the most right, righteous, and mighty. And have the most integrity and whatever. He played God. I don't think we can beat him playing God. And in the meantime, reality is totally unimpressed by our grandstanding from any faction. Reality goes on being reality, and in reality there are trade-offs. No one has infinite love. No one has infinite kindness. No one has infinite strength. The one rule we can take from all of life's evolution is adapt to reality or die. That's the one rule around here. And reality includes lots of trade-offs. And so when we self-satisfy with this talk like we represent the virtues to infinity, reality's unimpressed, and I don't think we can beat Trump at that game because he'll just play it to the max. I don't think he ran on anything but pretending he's always right, righteous, and mighty. We are entering a competition these days over fake authority, from claiming infinite virtue. I hear it in the comments I get on my videos. I had one the other day that I just thought was perfect. Look at you, fool. How you still believe Trump is a Christian. You better get on your knees and ask God for guidance again. So notice this guy is saying Trump doesn't speak for God, I do. So whether you're on the left or the right or anywhere where you have opinions, you're going to try to pretend that you are the authority, that you actually pull rank. You are the one who's got all the supreme virtues, and anybody who disagrees with you is wrong, is bad. That's the game that humans are inclined to play. We will end up snuffed out by a brain fart, by collective combative brain farts, where we pull rank and claim to be the moral authorities or represent the moral authorities and battle it out over stuff that is completely irrelevant to reality. That is, reality is not paying attention to that stuff. Reality doesn't care. It's not a being. It's the facts. It's climate change. So we neglect reality while we're distracted with all of this, what I'll call escapist or absolutist rank pulling, a kind of dissociation from reality. We neglect reality more and more because reality is getting tough. We are facing more trade-offs than ever. And rather than facing them, we go into this kind of high horse stuff against each other, thereby neglecting reality, which in turn gets worse. And in turn motivates us to escape even more. We could be snuffed out by a brain fart. That's the most likely cause of death for civilization. So the question is, if we have to change at all, we, the people who want to save the planet, the people who want to make things continue to work, the people for whom the minimal meaning of life is to not end it, and the minimal meaning of life is to not end human civilization, we have to change. We cannot beat them at that game. It's the wrong game. Reality doesn't give a shit about that game. We have to start to sober and mature humankind up to face moral and preferential trade-offs, rather than pretending that we represent the infinite good and therefore should win or beat everybody. That's Trump's game. It's a sucky game. It'll get us all killed. So everybody wants change, but they don't especially want to make that change. And when I read my fellow activists, what they're mostly saying is, we do need to change. The time is now. All that usual stuff. And what they mean by it is doubling down on those moral virtues, as if we're going to take possession of them instead of them. We're going to topple them off their high horse and mount that steed instead. And I'm saying that's doomed. It's doomed. It may be the way to win some elections, but it's not going to work. Reality wins all debates. Reality wins all debates.